We have first a message from the United Nations Environment Program Executive Director, Achim Steiner. So I'd like to call on the UNEP representative, Clara Nobbe, to read the statement for him.
Thank you very much, Lucy, and thank you to CAPWIP to organizing this very important event. I'm very pleased to deliver a statement from Achim Steiner, the Executive Director of the UN Environment Program. Yes, there he is. That's not me. Achim Steiner usually doesn't stick to the speeches that he prepares. So I'm sure he would have responded to the very inspiring contributions of the previous speakers. Unfortunately, I have to stick to the notes. So these are his words. Honorable members of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to briefly address you on the occasion of this very important World Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, the world today is in a climate crunch. Climate change is an increasingly prevalent issue dominating the world. We are facing a carbon crisis as greenhouse gas emissions steadily increase by 2.5%. This presents the possibility of a dramatic alteration in the natural balance of local and global ecosystems and the infringement on human settlements. The IPCC predicts that climate change impacts will be differently distributed among different regions, generations, age classes, income groups, occupations, and genders. This will fall disproportionately upon developing countries and poor persons within all countries, and thereby exacerbate inequities in health and status and access to adequate food, clean water, and other resources. Recent disasters, such as floods in Myanmar, the earthquake in China, and recently Hurricane Ike in the Caribbean and the USA, have revealed how various conditions determined by physical, social, economic, and environmental factors or processes increase or decrease vulnerabilities of affected communities. Socially based roles and responsibilities of men and women often determine the extent of vulnerability, as well as how the communities will cope with the impact of a hazard or disaster. Furthermore, people living in poverty are more vulnerable to environmental changes. The gender poverty links show that up to 70% of the world's poor are women, and their vulnerability is accentuated by race, ethnicity, geographical location, and age. Ladies and gentlemen, all is not doom and gloom. Examples from all over the world have shown how innovative investments and market mechanisms and strategic planning are enabling many countries to address and overcome climate change and disaster-related challenges. Moreover, by doing so, countries are beginning to tackle the achievement of the MDGs. Every one of us has a role to play at the individual, community, institutional, national, regional, and global levels. Each and every one of us is responsible for ensuring that climate change does not go unchecked anymore, and measures to reduce disaster risks and vulnerabilities are implemented. Today, global forest cover has reduced by at least 1/3. We need action to halt the continuous depletion of our forests. We need to plant trees and show the world that through small but significant individual efforts in our gardens, parks, countryside, and rural areas, we can assist in countering climate change. The UNEP Plant for the Planet Billion Tree campaign was launched as an engine for voluntary expressions of solidarity in countering climate change through global tree planting. Initially, the target was 1 billion trees by 2007, which was achieved before the year ended, and the new target is to plant 7 billion trees by the end of 2009, when governments meet in Copenhagen. Philippines, the host country for this Congress, has already planted 23,825,868 trees. Many countries are encouraged to follow suit. Ladies and gentlemen, the clear links between climate change and disasters cannot be underscored. UNEP has, in its medium-term strategy, placed climate change and disasters and conflicts among its 6 priority focus areas. Both sub-programs will integrate gender-related considerations and the use of gender-sensitive indicators, sex-disaggregated data collection methods into the adaptation planning, environmental assessments, and capacity-building processes. Although gender concerns are intertwined with the implementation of national response strategies, scientific data on this link is lacking. For the full realization of the connection between gender and climate change, UNEP will support the development of data highlighting how the combination of gender and climate change plays out in a number of sectors, including water and sanitation, agriculture, energy, land use and land use change, deforestation and degradation, biodiversity and traditional knowledge, forestry, and disaster risk reduction. Ladies and gentlemen, UNEP will continue to integrate gender equality and equity into all its policies, programs, and projects, with special attention given to the role of women in environmental policymaking, environmental management, and early warning and disaster management. UNEP's commitment to mainstream gender equality and equity in its programs will be extended to its work with partners and other agencies, funds, and programs of the United Nations system. I wish you fruitful deliberations and look forward to hearing of the outcomes of the Congress. Thank you.